everyone. Welcome to Alpha English Podcast, the place where learning English becomes simple, fun, and powerful.
If you want to speak English with confidence, understand real conversations, and improve faster than ever, you're in the right place.
Every episode, we break down English in the easiest way possible.
So get ready to learn, grow, and level up your English.
Let's start the episode.
And I just told him, look, get in the car. We are going to be late.
Wait. Did you just say get in the car?
Yeah, get in the car. That's what I said. Is that wrong?
Luke, you just made one of the most classic English mistakes. Right here, live, before we even started the episode.
Wait, did I? I said get in the car. Oh no.
You get into the car, or you get in the car if you're already talking about it being nearby. But the confusion people have between in and into for vehicles is exactly, and I mean exactly, what we are exploring today.
I didn't even notice I said it. It came out. This is embarrassing.
And that is exactly what we are talking about today. You can make a mistake without noticing. Imagine how many times our listeners do the same thing every single day. So today on Alpha English Podcast, we are talking about the 10 most common English mistakes, and more importantly, how to stop making them. These are mistakes even intermediate and advanced learners make, and we are going to fix them one by one today.
And what I love about this topic is that most of these mistakes don't come from laziness or not studying. They come from habits, things your brain learned early and never corrected.
Exactly. So if you've been making these mistakes, this is not a sign that your English is bad. This is a sign that you are human and you learned language the way all humans do, by absorbing patterns, some of which were wrong.
Which is also why we love doing this show.
And if you are enjoying the podcast, please hit subscribe wherever you are listening. It genuinely helps us reach more learners. And leave us a review if you have a moment. It takes 30 seconds and it means the world to us. Now, let's get into the mistakes. Mistake number 1, make versus do. This one drives me absolutely crazy because there is no perfect rule, but there are patterns, and once you see them, you will never confuse them again.
Okay, so what's the core idea?
So, in general, do is for tasks, duties, activities. Things you perform, especially when we don't name the activities specifically. Do the dishes, do your homework, do exercise, do a favor.
And make is for creating or producing something. You make a cake, you make a decision, you make a mistake, you make a phone call.
Which is funny because we say make a mistake, not do a mistake, and that one trips up almost every learner.
I have genuinely heard people say, I did a mistake, and it sounds off, but you almost understand it, which is what makes it tricky.
So the quick summary for mistake 1, use do for tasks and duties, use make for creating, producing, or causing something, and memorize these fixed phrases. Make a decision, make progress, make an effort, do your best, do the laundry, do business.
Mistake number 2, since versus for. And this one is about time.
Yes, so both of these words talk about duration, how long something has been happening, but they do it differently.
For is used with a length of time. For 2 hours, for 3 years, for a long time. You are measuring a period.
Since is used with a starting point. Since Monday. Since 2018. Since I was a child. You are pointing to when something began.
So, I have been studying English for 5 years. Or, I have been studying English since 2019. Both correct, different structure.
You know what I think about sometimes? I think about a learner sitting alone at night, rewriting the same 2 sentences over and over. Since or for, feeling like everyone else just knows this automatically. They don't. Nobody is born knowing this. The native speakers you admire got it wrong too. They just had years of hearing it corrected without realizing it. You are doing consciously what they did unconsciously. That is harder and it makes you stronger.
Which brings us beautifully back to my embarrassing moment from the beginning of the episode.
Yes, prepositions with transport. Mistake number 3.
So, you get in a car, you get on a bus, on a train, on a plane, on a bike, on a ship.
In a car, in a taxi, in a helicopter. The rule of thumb is if you stand up inside it, bus, train, plane, you get on. If you sit directly and it wraps around you closely, car, taxi, you get in. It's not perfect, but it works most of the time.
Although in my defense, I was emotionally distressed about being late. I think under pressure, my brain just selected any preposition and threw it out. It was a grammatical emergency.
A grammatical emergency. I am writing that down.
So to recap, on a bus, on a train, on a plane, on a bike, on a ship, in a car, in a taxi, in a helicopter.
Mistake number 4. To versus very. And this one changes meaning completely.
Explain, because I feel like people use these interchangeably.
They absolutely do, and it's wrong. Very is neutral. It just intensifies. Very hot, very expensive, very tired. It doesn't say whether that's a problem.
But too means there's a problem, there's an excess. Too hot to drink, too expensive to buy, too tired to continue. You can't do something because of it.
So if someone asks, how was the soup, and you say it was too hot, that means you couldn't eat it. If you say it was very hot, that means it was nicely warm, maybe perfectly served.
It's a small word, huge difference.
Exactly. Very equals strong, neutral. To equals strong, negative consequence. Test yourself. Would you say there's a problem? If yes, use to. If not, use very.
Okay, mistake number 5. Say versus tell. And this is purely about sentence structure.
Right. Say does not take a personal object directly. You say something. You say a word. But you do not say, she said me the answer.
Tell always takes a person. You tell someone something. She told me the answer. He told us to leave. I told you so.
Now, you can say, she said to me, with to, but never she said me. The moment you remove the to, you need to switch to tell.
I actually said this wrong to a student once. I was demonstrating something and I said, she said me the address, and they looked at me like I had completely lost my mind. I had to stop the whole lesson and correct myself.
You demonstrated the mistake better than any worksheet could. So say something. Tell someone something. That's the pattern. Print it, stick it on your wall, whatever it takes. All right. Mistake number 6, and this is a big one. Present perfect versus simple past.
Yes, this is the one that confuses even B2 and C1 learners.
So, simple past, I ate, I went, I saw, is for finished actions with a specific time. Yesterday, in 2020, last week. The time is done and named.
Present perfect, I have eaten, I have gone, I have seen, is for actions connected to now. The time is unspecified, recent, or the result still matters right now.
So, I saw that film last Tuesday. Past simple, finished, specific time, versus I have seen that film. Present perfect. We don't know or care when. What matters is the current state. I have the experience now.
The classic mistake is saying, I have seen it last Tuesday. You cannot combine have seen with a specific past time. The tenses fight each other.
Quick test. Is there a specific past time in the sentence? Yes. Use simple past. No specific time but a connection to now? Use present perfect. That's the core of it.
Can I just pause for 1 second here? Because we are halfway through, and I know some of you are keeping a mental tally. I make that one and that one. Oh no, that one too. And I want to say that list you're making in your head is not a list of your failures. It is a list of everything you are about to fix. There is a learner somewhere listening to this episode on a bus, earphones in, going to work, and they just realized they have been mixing up say and tell for 3 years. That moment of realizing, that sharp little sting, that is your brain forming a new connection. Don't flinch away from it. Let it land.
That was beautifully put. Okay, mistake number 7. Articles. The versus a versus nothing at all.
And I know for speakers of Arabic, Russian, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, articles basically don't exist in your language, so English articles feel completely random.
They are not random. They just follow rules that take time. So a or an is for something new, something the listener doesn't know yet. I met a doctor today. I ate an apple.
The is for something specific, already known, shared knowledge between you and the listener. The doctor I mentioned, the apple on the table.
And sometimes no article, plural general things. Dogs are loyal. Cats are independent. Abstract concepts. Love is complicated. Life is short.
Quick tip, if you are not sure, read your sentence aloud. If the is already implied and obvious, use the. If it's new information, use a. If it's general and universal, use nothing. Trust your ear more than you think you should.
Mistake number 8. Countable versus uncountable nouns, specifically much versus many and less versus fewer.
So, many and fewer go with things you can count. Many people, many books, fewer cars, fewer mistakes.
Much and less go with things you cannot count, uncountable nouns. Much water, much time, less noise, less information.
Although, and I will be honest, in casual speech, native speakers constantly say less people when they should say fewer. So if you say fewer, you actually sound more correct than most native speakers in that moment.
Which is a beautiful irony, and you should enjoy it.
Mistake number 9, adjective order. Because yes, there is an order.
Oh, this one! So in English, adjectives before a noun follow a specific sequence, even though almost nobody is taught this explicitly. It just sounds wrong if you break it.
The order is opinion, then size, then age, then shape, then color, then origin, then material, then purpose, then the noun. So a lovely little old round green French silver antique whittling knife.
Which is the most absurd example sentence I have ever heard, but it is grammatically correct.
In real life, you'll rarely use more than 2 or 3, but the ones people get wrong most often, putting color before size. A red big car sounds very wrong. It should be a big red car. Opinion before size, before color, always.
And the beautiful thing is, you probably already know this instinctively in a few combinations. Trust that instinct and then expand it.
And mistake number 10, the one I saved for last because it is the most common mistake I hear every single day. Using will instead of going to for plans, or the reverse.
So, going to is for plans made before the moment of speaking. You already decided, I'm going to visit my parents this weekend. That was planned.
Will is for decisions made right now, in the moment, or predictions or offers. Oh, the phone is ringing. I'll get it. You decided at that second. Or, I think it will rain tomorrow. A prediction.
So, if someone asks you, what are you doing Saturday? And you already have plans, going to. If they ask and you think of something on the spot, will. Your intention existed before or it appeared now.
It sounds subtle, but in context, it matters. I'll call you sounds like a spontaneous promise. I'm going to call you sounds like something already arranged. Different feelings, different commitment.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of all 10. Make versus do, since versus for, prepositions with transport, in or on, To versus very, say versus tell, present perfect versus simple past, articles, a, the, or nothing, countable and uncountable, many and fewer, much and less, adjective order, and will versus going to.
10 mistakes, all fixable, all understandable. None of them make you a bad English speaker.
Before we go, I want to say something. I want you to think about a learner who started learning English 5, 6, 7 years ago. They are better now than they have ever been. But some days it doesn't feel like that. Some days it feels like everyone else is fluent and effortless, and they are still making the same small mistakes. To that person, language is not a finish line you cross. It is a river you step into, and you go deeper every year. The mistakes you are making today are not the same mistakes you made 2 years ago, even if they feel similar. You have already come further than you can see from where you are standing right now. Keep going. Not because it gets easier, but because you get better.
That's it from us today on Alpha English Podcast. If this episode helped you, share it with one person who is learning English. Not 10 people, just one. The right person who needs it today.
Subscribe, leave us a review, and we will be back next episode with more. And knowing us, probably another accidental demonstration before we even start the topic.
I'll make sure to get in the car next time.
See you then. Bye, everyone.
Bye.